What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Twin Wrestle Pod. If you're new to the channel, you know to subscribe. Now, I've been gone for a minute since my WrestleMania predictions, and after that video, my old mouse, that's in my drawer, it messed up, and I wasn't able to use it until I bought a new mouse. So that's the delay on everything video making. But now we're here, so we're going to get back into the uploads. But we had quite the news last week on SmackDown, on Friday in general. As you can see at the top of the screen, we got every WWE departure in 2025 so far. We're only going to focus on the ones that literally just happened last week. I think there was an overall 17, 19 people cut by WWE overall, which always sucks because it happens every year around this time after WrestleMania. Sometimes it happened before WrestleMania, like the end of the year. Sometimes it happened like around November, December, before you get into Mania season when they do these departure cuts, and we saw a bunch of those cuts. Examples being Isla Dawn, Blair Davenport, AOP, just to name a few. So we're not really totally unaccustomed to WWE cutting people. And yet, it striked again on Black Friday like it always do after WrestleMania. And we had a total of, I think, like I said, 17 or 19. Most of these weren't surprises, but some of them were to me. And we're going to go through the list of a couple few that were surprises for me. We're going to start off this list with the biggest surprise of them all, literally and figuratively, Braun Strowman. He was yet again cut by WWE for a second time. He was cut, I think, in what I want to say the 2022, right around that time, after he teamed up with Ricochet. They cut him after that. I think he got hurt or something like that, and then he was drawn either before that, one of the two. I can't remember. He got cut. He did the whole control your narrative thing back then. This one was shocking to me because he literally was just on SmackDown before WrestleMania. The SmackDown or the SmackDown before the Go Home show before WrestleMania, and against Jacob Fatu. I think they might have had a last man standing match if I remember. But for him to go through all this, get cut, come back to the company, have amazing feuds with Bronson Reed late last year when Bronson Reed had his run. Had that fabulous feud with Bronson Reed, that last Monster Standing match. Who could forget Bronson Reed jumping off the car in the parking lot jumping off the like the parking structure onto on top of the car on Braun Strowman on Monday Night Raw. Who can forget that? Who can forget him going up against Jacob Fatu? Saturday's main event literally just happened this year, and literally the last man standing match that just happened like maybe 3-4 weeks ago. And then here he is, he's cut yet again. This shit just don't make any sense to me. Why cut the guy? I mean, Braun Strowman, he know his character. He present a presence on television that most superstars in WWE can't uphold, right? You got Omos still there, but Braun Strowman is the only bit guy y'all really, really feature. So yeah, for y'all to just cut him like that just came out of nowhere, really. And I'm pretty sure he's the only one on this list making the most money out of everybody on this list. So WWE coined it budget cuts. That's hearsay because every time you hear WWE, they brag about breaking a record-breaking gate, ticket sales, merch sales, whatever the case may be. They ain't for none when it comes to the money. They always seem to present and announce every time they do a record-breaking this or that or so forth or the other. So I don't want to hear that budget cuts reason. So that's crazy shit. But Braun Strowman was among the surprises of all. Former Universal Champ, former Tag Team Champ. He just can't catch a break, man. He even worked through the match with Bronson Reed after he tore his groin earlier late last year. So it's like this dude literally working through matches after tearing ligaments in his body, and you still get rid of him after bringing him back. I don't know where Braun Strowman goes after this. Does he go to TNA or what? I mean, TNA still got a working relationship with WWE, but at this point, getting fired by WWE twice, what the fuck? Like, me personally, I would tell WWE they can take something and shove it personally, but this just it's crazy, man. I don't get this move, man. I don't get this move at all. He's a big presence you can use on the main roster. I just don't get it. It don't make sense to me. Yet another move that didn't make sense to me, Dakota Kai. Out of all women in the division you get rid of is Dakota Kai, who you guys know going way back to the beginning of this year I had as my uncrowned first ever Intercontinental Champion, but she ended up losing to Lyra Valkyria, which right now showed to be the worst move as of this moment, because Lyra hasn't defended the championship outside of any on any pay-per-view. She's in the tag team match at WrestleMania against Liv and Raquel, teaming up with Bayley, but then Bayley got attacked, teaming up with Becky, when WWE could have easily went to the Becky versus Lyra match at Mania, but they're doing it for this build to Backlash maybe now. So what's the point of her holding the Intercontinental Championship? Dakota Kai could have won it, got a little run, then Lyra beat her after the fact. But they didn't decide to go that way. Granted, Dakota Kai get a lot of injuries, whether it's the ACL, meniscus, concussion, that caused her to miss the Royal Rumble. But Dakota Kai was literally, outside of the main women on Monday Night Raw, she was featured the most, really. Granted, it was against matches against Lyra Valkyria and Ivy now for the majority of the time, right? But I haven't seen Dakota Kai on Raw probably since March. So, I mean, I can't say I'm surprised, but I am surprised. Because she's with Damage Control, former tag team champ, and you literally made a mid-card championship where you can at least have someone like her with some credibility hold the championship on Raw. Ain't no one else on the Raw roster you can take serious as a mid-card champ. You got to rely on Becky Lynch in order to provide some stability and credibility to that championship now at the moment, to feud with Lyra Valkyria, because Lyra Valkyria beating everybody that's there in the mid-card so far that you featured, including Dakota. But, you know what I'm saying? The Dakota move just didn't make sense to me, bro. It really didn't. But it made sense of why they didn't feature her. Like, she just vanished off of TV after that match against Ivy now in March. She just vanished. And this pretty much was WWE's decision, was to get rid of her. I don't like the decision. She's gonna have a lot of companies going after her. Maybe go back to Japan, maybe AEW. But I'm not the biggest fan of AEW's booking at points, especially when it comes to women's division. Granted, they have a great women's division, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. This just sucks for Dakota Kai, really. It sucks to hear that she got released and cut. Cause that's some bullshit. Yeah, and Dakota Kai was my second surprise on this list. Shayna Baszler. I can't really say I was surprised by Shayna Baszler being cut, because they really had nothing like for her, really, man. Like, outside of her NXT run, which was one of the greatest runs in NXT history, she came up to the main roster, had that angle where she bit Becky Lynch in the back of the neck and the blood and stuff. Remember that? And then they went on to the chamber where she dominated, but she didn't win the chamber match, I don't believe. No, she did win the chamber match. And we go on to WrestleMania, she ended up losing to Becky Lynch, who ended up having to drop the championship anyway because she was pregnant. Remember that during the pandemic shows or whatever, right? But it seemed like after that, like, they didn't really have too much for her, man. Like, Triple H tried a little bit. She had the little program with Ronda Rousey, which was cool at first. But then you get to the match at SummerSlam, which is like a bore fest, really. So they didn't really do nothing there. Then you put her together with Zoe Stark and Sonya Deville, and they gave Sonya Deville, they let her contract run out earlier this year. So that broke up the Pure Fusion Collective, and then her and Zoe was just there in the tag team division. Granted, they were a tag team, but not really. They were just a team that was put together. And we literally just saw her the SmackDown, either the SmackDown before WrestleMania or the week prior to that. in that tag team gauntlet match where Bayley and Lyra Valkyria won. So that's the last time we saw Shayna, but I'm not surprised she was cut because they just didn't have nothing for her, man. Granted, that's why it questions why bring mid-card women's championship in the first place if you're not going to bother putting any of these women in the position to hold the championship or go after the championship and just sit in the back all day and have no storylines for these women to do. What's the point of introducing the mid-card championship? Don't know. So Shayna Baszler, wasn't really surprised by that. Kayden Carter and Katana Chance was a surprise by me. It was a surprise, but not a surprise at the same time. A surprise being because they only did legit women's tag team there to be had in that entire company. They legit tag team. We'll get to one later on. These two former women's tag team champions. Literally, these two have been put together NXT going on how many years now? At least, the last 5-6 years? They showed tremendous chemistry. In the ring, they had awesome tag team moves. The money with these two is really legitly is a tag team. These two should not be singles competitors. Granted, they can do it, but their money is with them being a tag team. They have so much chemistry you can tell inside and outside of the ring if you follow them on social media and stuff like that. These two have tremendous chemistry, and I was surprised by this because what is the point of you having tag team championships if you're not going to put the actual tag team championships on a legit tag team in your division? The tag team championships are currently held by singles wrestlers who were just put together, i.e. Liv and Raquel, i.e. Bianca and Jade, right? i.e. Bianca and Naomi. What's the point of having a legit women's tag team and you don't put the tag team championships on them? Granted, I think they did win the championships, but they didn't have a great run, I don't believe. But at least feature them on TV, man. Don't just put them in a fucking gauntlet match and that's it. Like, Triple H has to do better, man, when it comes to the women's division. Period, point blank. You have all these championships and you don't even feature most of these women, bro. Do better, man. These two should not have been released, bro. They are the only legit women's tag team in the division. Period, point blank. Cora Jade, NXT. I did see her on TNA recently on YouTube or whatever. I can't really say I am surprised, but I am at the same time because she was just with Roxanne. They had just formed some group within the last 3, 4, maybe 5 months together. Going after the NXT Women's Championship. Both lost in the Fatal 4-Way, I think it was, or Triple Threat, whatever it was, maybe. But I never saw the allure of Cora Jade. But a lot of people, I think she had a lot of fans, though, really, on IWC. She had a lot of fans. But she was a little injury prone. Like, she had tear her knee up here and there. And then she had that one occurrence on NXT where people didn't know if she hurt her knee again or where the match just abruptly ended. And she said she had got rocked, so she had to go to the back. That's the most recent things I did know of her. I didn't really watch her as much. But she did seem like she was a big player in NXT down there. But once Stephanie and Julia and Jordan Grace got in the fold, maybe she was just ushered out. But still, I think that was... WWE could at least brought her up to be in one of these divisions on SmackDown or Raw because the divisions are lacking in the women's department, man. So, I don't know. I'm puzzled by most of the moves because you get rid of a Cora Jade, but you keep a... And I don't vouch for nobody to lose their job. And you keep someone like Nikita Lyons, who I haven't seen on NXT TV in so long. I think I seen her in the backstage segment not too long ago. Maybe with Ashanti the Adonis or somewhere along those lines. But I don't know, man. This move I can't say I'm really shocked by. Now this move here, Jakara Jackson. So I was watching NXT right last week, and literally they had Metaphor here. That's on the screen as I'm talking now. And Noam Dar was trying to bring the club back together, but Lash Legend said, "No, we need to move away and branch out on our own because a lot of things has changed since he's been gone." And then they hugged it out and then walked their separate ways. And then little did I know, we come to Friday and boom, Jakara Jackson is released. And I didn't even know Ora Manson was released until a little bit later on. But Jakara Jackson and Ora Manson has been released. I don't like the Jakara Jackson move just for simple fact that they were on the main roster. They were on SmackDown doing things in the tag team division. Last Legend was in a Royal Rumble. And say this again. Why you got tag team championships if you're not going to bring actual tag teams into the women's tag team division and bolster that division a little bit? Jakara Jackson and Last Legend literally were a tag team in NXT. So why not bring them up, have them go after the tag team championship just to have someone in the division, then break them up afterwards or something like that. And then I vouched for doing my WrestleMania predictions. I think I might have said I had Naomi winning with the help of Last Legend and Jakara Jackson as a way to get them up to the main roster and include some more deterrents for Jade to have to go through in order to get to Naomi, right? And then maybe they can involve Bianca Belair, then Jade and Bianca can. It's a lot of story you can tell there, and they can team up together and go against Last Legend, Jakara Jackson, and Naomi some way, somehow, right? To build up some story. But can't happen now. They're cut from the roster. Now, the rest of these people I really don't know. I mean, I know Gigi Dolan and Shotzi. I can't say I'm really surprised by the Shotzi move. I haven't seen her in a minute. I think she was on NXT with Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. Last time I seen her as well. It's literally last time I seen them. So, really wasn't surprised. But I say again, why are most of these women not up on the main roster, man? It's just baffling to me. In the case of Gigi Dolan, they should have been brought up. Because the crazy part is, when Toxic Attraction was a thing, you had her, even when Mandy Rose left, you even still had Gigi Dolan and Jessie Jane being on the main roster, if y'all remember. They had matches on the main roster. And we thought, okay, maybe that's a symbolism in the future they will be on the main roster together as a tag team. They were a legit tag team. So why not bring them on the main roster for your tag team women's championships? Which just didn't make sense to me that they didn't do that. And now they released Gigi Dolan. And she's going to be fine. She had a persona before she got to WWE as Priscilla Kelly. If you know, you know. The infamous tampon spot that caused the whole ruckus in the wrestling landscape. But she'll be fine. Shotzi will be fine. In terms of Gallus, I didn't really watch them that much, but they've been there for Joe Coffey and Mark Coffey been there for a little bit. So, not really surprised by that, but I just don't see why they didn't call these guys up or something like that, man. Most of this stuff like this could have been avoided if you just called them up and see what you got. Danny Palmer, I can't tell you too much about her, but I wish her well. Eddie Thorpe, he was in last time I seen him, he was in a feud with Trick Williams where they did an infamous angle of somebody taking him out, and then it ended up being himself who took himself out to get himself in the NXT Championship match against Oba and Trick, which was a pretty cool storyline. But it's the last time I watched him, though. Yeah, they released him as well, man. Javier Bernal and Riley Osborne, I don't really know too much about, but those guys were released as well. Just the recent releases, just, you know, some of them are surprising, some of them are not. And what this tells me is just further leads credibility to the notion that Triple H don't care about the women's tag team division, barely the women's division. Granted, if you're not going to use them, get rid of them, but you have to do better, Triple H, and building some storylines outside of the main championships with these women. They shouldn't all be going after the main championship. Chelsea Green did a fabulous job as a United States champ, even though she lost it to Zelina Vega. She did a great job. She does a good job with her character getting reactions. Lyra Valkyria gets a little reaction, not that much. I'm sure if you put her and Chelsea Green in a match together, most of the fans will lean toward Chelsea Green because Chelsea Green does tremendous character work. But Triple H got to do better, man. He need to take notes from Shawn Michaels, who actually has storylines for the women in NXT. The most enticing thing about NXT is watching the women's division in NXT. That's not to say nothing bad about the men's division, but Shawn Michaels is killing it with the women's division, featuring the women who are not featured for that main championship are always in the storyline. It can be something little, even a backstage segment, anything. They can be partners or any little thing. Shawn Michaels makes sure to have a story for the women. Triple H need to take note of that because You have too much women. You have too many women in your division for them not to be in stories or featured for these mid-card championships that you created. But that's all I got to say when it comes to these cuts, budget cuts, as they like to call them. I wish everybody well. I know most people will land on their feet. And it's always a crazy thing on Black Friday when these things happen. But as Zack Ryder said, you can live off your name. You can boast off your name. The choice is yours. And this is not the end. So I wish those people well who got released. And maybe you get a fiery comeback. But that's it. That's all my thoughts on WWE recent releases. Going to hit you back with more Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, AW videos. So I'll see you guys then. Peace out.